Hello, my lovelies. Captain TigerLily here, and we are back with another Reading Corner book suggestions. And this particular episode is going to be very kid-friendly, and the reason for that is because I always like going back and rereading books that I grew up with because I love that nostalgic feeling, and I like uh, rereading them to kind of experience the same thing but as an adult now, or like books that I read as a kid reading as a teenager and then reading again as an adult. And as you get older, you can kind of interpret things differently in a book series than I think you can as a kid as opposed to an adult, you know? So these two particular books are both the first in their series respectively, and the first one is a very personal favorite, which I didn't read until I was a teenager because it didn't come out until I was a teenager, but I still loved them. I love being absorbed in this particular world, and that is Wolves of the Beyond, The Lone Wolf by Catherine Lasky. Now, this is the same author who wrote the Guardians of Ga'Hoole series, and I love this because it kind of expands on the world that she created with the owls, but it takes place from more secondary characters in the Guardians of Ga'Hoole series and makes them the main characters of this one. So I really, really liked it. There is tape. I forgot that was on my desk. Oopsie! My bad. So I will read the back so you guys can see whether or not you would like this book. Okay? So, the Owl War is over. The wolf pack awaits. In the harsh wilderness beyond, the owl world of Ga'Hoole, a wolf mother hides in fear. Her newborn pup, otherwise healthy, has a twisted paw. The mother knows the rigid rules of her kind. The pack cannot have weakness. Her pup must be abandoned on an icy riverbank, condemned to die. But alone in the forest, the pup Fowlan does the unthinkable. He survives. This is Fowlan's story, the story of a courageous wolf pup who rises up to change forever the wolves of the beyond. Now, I love the way that the wolf pack structure is interpreted in these books, because it doesn't really go into like what really happens in a wolf pack, but I like that it sets it up so that you have, you know, the alpha, the beta, the structures of the pack. But I love how they go into like little intricacies of how a wolf would act in this situation, or how, you know, they would react to this thing happening. And I love being absorbed in the kind of world where you just lose yourself in it, and that's very much what this book did. So I will leave a link down below for you guys to go get The Lone Wolf for yourselves, and definitely check this out. It's not a very long read. It's only, let's see, it's only about 200 pages, so it doesn't take you very long to get through it, and the pages themselves are very, they're structured very easy to read. So it's definitely one of those where it may be a simple read, but it's a good one. So definitely check this out. Now, the second one, I have read pretty much the entire series that the author wrote originally, which was the Charlie Bones series, which I absolutely loved. It was kind of like, it had kind of a Harry Potter feel, but it had a more, not as much magic. It was just like modern world with just a hint of magic, and I really liked that. I liked that it did that. And this is by the same author. This is The Snow Spider by Jenny Nemo. And this particular series is a trilogy, and it's been such a long time since I've read this, but I remember when I read it the first time, we had a library about 20 minutes from my parents' house when I was growing up, and I remember borrowing all 3 books one time going to the library, and I read them in like a day, if even. They're very short, but it's a very good read. So I will read the back so that way you guys can see if you would like to read this for yourselves. A fantastic adventure begins with one boy's extraordinary battle against evil. A spell has been cast on Gwyn's family in The Snow Spider. Five strange gifts from his grandmother may help him break it, but first he must discover if he truly is a magician. One night, a mysterious snow spider appears and spins a web of magic. What lies beyond the snow spider's web? Now, one of the things that I love is that this book paints such a very clear picture of what it's trying to project. And one of the things I love about this series is the cover art for all of Jenny Nemo's books are so intriguing. And I love that you can't really tell as much through the camera, but anything on the cover that's supposed to be white is actually silver. So it has a very, like, it has that magical, almost metallic kind of look to it, and I love that. And one of the things that I loved about reading not just the Magician trilogy, which is what this is the first book of, but also reading the Charlie Bone books, is because the world is so easy to envision in your head. And for me, I started, like, when I was reading both stories, I kind of envisioned how the different buildings were, how the characters looked, how they acted, and I just kind of painted this picture really easily in my head. And it's one of the things when I read a book that makes me want to be a writer, is reading a story and just completely immersing your entire mind in that world. I love it. And that's one of the things that I think the author Jenny Nemo does really, really well with her books, is it may be simplistic writing like The Wolves of the Beyond, but it does such a good job at drawing you in. You don't even notice that it's so simplistic, and I love that. You don't need, all this intricate, overly detailed language to paint the same picture. You can say purple and everyone's going to envision their own shade of purple. You don't have to say lavender or lilac or violet. You can just say purple and then everyone can have their own picture. Or you can just say like an old Gothic church and everyone's going to envision their own thing. And I think that's one of the best things you can do as a writer, is to give a template and then let the reader fill in the rest. So I will leave the link for The Snow Spider down below in the description for you guys to go check out, and I would highly suggest it. This one is only about 150 pages, so it's a much easier read than most of the books that I have put in this series, but it's definitely well worth the few hours, if even, that it'll take you to get through it. So if you get the first one, I would highly suggest putting the other two on your list, because once you get done with this one, you're gonna want to read the next ones. I definitely did. I was so glad that I, immediately went through and borrowed the second and third when I borrowed the first one. So I want to know what you guys think of these books as usual, so let me know down in the comments section what you guys thought of these books, if you read them now, or if you have already read either of these books or the series that they belong to. Let me know down in the comment section what you thought of it. And as always, leave your suggestions for me to read down in the comments, and I will take a look at them. And you never know, they may actually end up on this list. That's actually already happened for one book in particular that's going on the next episode. So, if you guys liked the video, hit the like button down below and subscribe to my channel if you guys want to see more of the Reading Corner book suggestions. And as always, hit the notification bell so that way you guys get notified when my new videos go live. What? Well, if you're not going to come in my lap, don't bug me. I tried to let you in my lap. All you do is climb on the desk and knock over shit. Get out of here. Stop that. Good grief. Where was I? And don't forget to leave your suggestions down in the comment section as well for a name for Evie, because you only have a few more days left to pick a name for her. So, do that. And I will leave the full playlist for the Reading Corner book suggestion blogs up here and the subscribe button right here so that way you guys can stay notified when my stuff comes out. Okay? So, that being said, this is Captain TigerLily, and I will see you guys in the next episode. Bye, my lovelies!